We shall quickly solve some problem. Then we shall take a small break. Okay, we have to solve last two problems from that Gauss law. Am I right? Again, it needs a lot of three-dimensional picture. 17th problem or 2.17. So 17th one or 2.17. An infinite plane slab. Okay, again, whenever you have infinite plane, there is a symmetry. Okay, you can say there is a symmetry and you can apply your Gauss law. An infinite plane slab, thickness 2d, carries a uniform volume charge density rho. Rho is the uniform volume charge density. So find the electric field as a function of y. He has given that one. How to draw? Can you see the diagram? Yeah, x cap, y cap, z cap. Is that okay? So now let me just draw so plane like this. I mean, can you imagine? Thick plane. Yeah, now I think it's okay. Can you imagine? So that plane is placed, thick slab, infinite slab that is placed parallel to xz plane, perpendicular to y axis. Is that okay? So let me just draw it like this. I think better to draw y axis like this. Is that okay? So now he's asking what is the electric field as a function of y. What is the electric field as a function of y? Again, how to still it's not comfortable, or I better not to draw this part. Am I right? He hasn't drawn this part, isn't it? Yeah, I think this is sufficient. This is sufficient. So now this is the origin. Now look at here. That slab is placed in such a way that so that your xz plane cuts that slab exactly into half. So this distance is 2d. Okay, that distance is 2d. Is that okay? So the front side of this slab, it is at y equal to 2. Back side of this slab, it is at y equal to d. Is that okay? So back side of the slab, it is at y equal to minus d, so that the thickness is 2d. Okay, it is placed like that. So now he is asking what is the electric field as a function of y. Obviously, if electric field appears here, it should be function of y only. it should be along y cap direction. Why? Again, because of symmetry, am I right? So if you move along x or z direction, you will not feel any difference. Why? It is infinite in both extents, isn't it? So that's why when you move along z axis or when you move along x axis, you will not feel any difference. And when you move along y axis, that means you are moving away from the charge distribution, then there may be some difference. So I mean, if electric field appears, it will be along y cap perpendicular to the plane. Okay, so perpendicular to the plane. If modulus of the electric field should be function of y, okay, it should be function of y. So these are the two things that we have to see. Now I think, I don't know whether you have seen solution manual or not. We better to see one cross-sectional view because it's little difficult to imagine Gaussian surface, am I right, or to draw that one. In either case, it's a little difficult to draw the Gaussian surface. Now let me just take it like this. I have a slab here. So I don't know how he has done that one, but let me do it in my way. Okay. If you, this is your, this is your y-axis. Okay. This is your y cap. So now somewhere here inside, it is exactly so cutting like this. I mean, I better to take your coordinate at one of the edges. That's better. So that's very better. Okay, then if this is y cap, what is this one? Y cap, z cap, z cap, x cap, x cap, y cap, z cap. Is that okay? So now look at here. I'm taking one of the cross section. It is infinite in this extent also. Okay, it is infinite in this extent also. Now I have to take a kind of Gaussian pillbox. Is that okay? So again, just like our planar symmetry, isn't it? We have to take one Gaussian pillbox and then we have to do our surface integral over that one. Now, how do you take the pillbox? You better to take the pillbox like this. Actually, it should be, how to say? I can't draw it properly. So that's why in solution manual, see that one, he has given cross-sectional view. Okay. Now what I do here is I am going to run my Gaussian pillbox so that it will be very symmetric to, I am going to run it like this. I think he might have run one side of the Gaussian pillbox on the middle of that one, other side above that one, but let me run symmetrical. Okay, you can do in any manner. Are you getting my point? This should be symmetric with your ZX plane. Okay, your Gaussian pillbox should be symmetric with your ZX plane. So one side of that pillbox will extend above, I mean, so towards y-axis. Other side will extend so towards negative y-axis. Okay, let me take it like that. So now look at here. If you want to find electric field inside, y is less than d. Okay, y is less than d. I mean, y is less than d means inside this slab. So I can take a Gaussian pillbox like this at a distance. Suppose this is y-axis at a distance y from the origin. So I can just apply. So suppose this is the area A. Okay, area A, and only this part of the area and below area will contribute to the flux, isn't it? Because electric field will be along y cap or minus y cap. Below it should be minus y cap, above it should be plus y cap. So if I apply again Gauss law, E bar dot dA bar is equal to Q enclosed by epsilon naught. So side surfaces will not contribute any flux, is that okay? Because those surface area are perpendicular to electric field. So that's why only above surface. In above surface, electric field is constant. Again, it should depend only on y. Am I right? So mod of electric field into area plus below surface. Remember that below surface I am running what you call how to say, symmetrically. If electric field is E in above surface, it should be mod E in above surface. It should have the same magnitude in the below surface. But what he has done is he run that below surface on that plane. I mean xz plane, and he argued on that plane electric field is 0. Is that okay? But I'm going to take the earlier idea. Earlier idea was we had infinitely thin plane, am I right? We run our Gaussian pillbox just above and below. Now let me do in the same way. And what was the argument? If that Gaussian surface is, if it is symmetrically raised above and below, then your magnitude of the electric field above as well as below surface should be same. Am I right? That's what we have taken. I'm going to take the same idea here. But inside the slab. Now I'm taking inside the slab. Y is less than D. Or you better to say mod Y is less than D. What do you mean by that? Mod Y less than D. Y between minus D to plus D. Isn't it? So this along Y axis your plane runs from minus D to plus D. So just check it out. So that's why. So that's why below surface. So again you will get mod of electric field dA vector. Then you need to find what is the charge enclosed. Is that okay? What is the area? What is the what is the volume of this one? So charge density is rho. Rho into volume, you will get charge enclosed. What is the volume of this one? I have taken at Y, remember. I have taken at Y. Then this distance should be 2Y. Okay. So this distance should be 2Y. 2Y into A. So rho into 2Y into A divided by epsilon naught. Okay. So electric field into 2A, am I right? Check it out. Electric field is same in the above surface as well as below surface. So that's equal to rho 2Y into A. Why this A comes? Area. Is that okay? So 2Y into this area, you will get volume. That is the charge enclosed within that one. Rho, rho is constant, okay? You don't have to worry about this one. So again, area divided by epsilon naught. So 2 got cancelled. Electric field will be rho by epsilon naught Y cap. When mod Y is less than D. Mod Y is less than D means minus D to plus D. Now look at here. In one formula, you got electric field below as well as above. Isn't it? But while doing this one, have the argument at the surface. I should not write closed here. Why? I haven't considered edge surface. Closed means closed surface. Is that okay? This is upper surface. This is lower surface. And you get my point. Closed surface integral only when surface is closed, isn't it? I have taken off that edge surface. Edge surface will not contribute any flux. That's why upper one, that's also open surface. Lower one, that's also open surface. Don't write closed. Okay, closed symbol is for closed surface. Other parts were 0. So here it is closed integral, but edge surface we have not considered because it will not contribute any flux. Okay, so this is below one. Okay, below one. Now outside, again you have to extend your Gaussian surface outside. Is that okay? If Y is little geometrical, if Y mod Y is greater than D, is that okay? Outside this slab. So then what you have to do? You have to again extend your Gaussian surface so that it should, it is at a distance Y. So from the center, okay, and that Y should be outside the slab. Is that okay? While doing that one, this part will be same. I told that one, am I right? This part will always remain same. So that's why this part will be electric field into 2A only. Is that okay? Upper surface and lower surface will contribute the flux. Am I right? This was net electric flux. Surface integral. Edge surface will not contribute anything. So charge enclosed. Now look at here. When you take a surface like this, so only slab region will enclose the charge. And what is the volume? Area into 2D. Area into 2D. Again, it's very difficult to draw. So now I have to run my Gaussian surface like this. That okay? Above and below, symmetrically, so that I can argue electric field at this surface, at this below surface, both are same, isn't it? Because of symmetry. Now look at here. So again, even though suppose this distance is 2y, is it okay? This distance is 2y. So again, so this is area A. Am I right? So but your flux will contribute only here and here, and electric field into 2A, because above, again, below electric field will be downward, above electric field will be upward. Okay. Again, so cos 0. Well, so in your dot product cos 0 happens, and electric field into 2A. At the surface will not contribute anything, so that this part remains the same. So as earlier. So then, what is the next one? Rho into, now look at here, this part and this part will not have any charges, remember. Only this is distance 2D, am I right? This 2D into A area, that volume, that's a part of the closed surface volume, am I right? 2D into area, that's a part of total, so our Gaussian surface volume. So only that will what you call enclosed charge. So that's why rho into 2D into A divided by epsilon naught. That is your charge enclosed. So area got cancelled, 2 got cancelled. Something is missing. Constant. That's correct, I think. Electric field is equal to rho d by epsilon naught into y cap outside. Okay, when mod y greater than d, when mod y less than d. Now he told you to plot this one. Okay, plot the magnitude electric field as a function of y, minus d to plus d. Minus d to plus d, look at here, it is proportional to y. And at exactly y equal to 0, it is 0. Why? Again, because of symmetry, electric field will cancel out, you can think of. Okay, exactly in that xz plane. Xz plane is a middle plane of the whole slab, am I right? Xz plane means y equal to 0, right? Y equal to 0, your electric field is 0. So that argument he has taken. He run one of the surface on the middle of the plane, okay? But I am taking symmetrically, so both will be, both will give the same answer. Is that okay? And the same thing we have done in case of thin infinite plane also. Remember, we run our Gaussian pillbox symmetrically above and below the plane, and I prefer that one. Minus d to plus d, it is proportional to y. It should be like this. Proportional means linear, straight line, passing through origin. So after that, it is constant. Something is missing. No negative sign here. This is positive, am I right? No, wait a second. Wait a second. Above electric field will be like this, below electric field will be minus y cap direction. Is that okay? So that's why you better to, is the electric field, mod of the electric field. Okay, this is above the zx plane. Y greater than 0 means above the zx plane, below the zx plane. That's correct. But something should have taken care of that sign. Am I right? Are you getting my point? Whenever you write this one, yeah, you have to write like this. This is okay, remember. So here y sign will take care of its what you call direction. Why? So above the plane, if y is positive, it will be plus y cap direction. Below this plane, y is negative, that's why it will be minus y cap direction. But here it will not take care. You have to rewrite this one. So E outside, let me write E outside the slab, that's equal to rho d by epsilon naught y cap if y greater than d Okay, minus rho d by epsilon naught or rho d by epsilon naught minus y cap, then y is less than minus 2. Is that okay? So below this plane, so this is y-axis, below this one, below this slab, electric field will be downward, am I right? You have to show that one. This formula cannot show that one, look at here. It's always along y cap, isn't it? So just remove this one, try to write like this. That was by inspection, remember, direction is by inspection. In Gauss law will not give any direction, okay, it will give only magnitude, isn't it? By inspection we said it should be away from this slab, am I right? You have to initially, argue our electric field should be away from this slab, wherever you take. So that's why. So in the below region of this slab, y less than minus d means below region of this slab. But in between it will take care, look at here, this y variable, it will take care of the direction. You don't have to worry about that. If y is negative, it will introduce one more negative sign, it will be minus y cap. Is that okay? This is when mod y is less than d. So that's why, look at here, your electric field is negative when it is less than minus d. So when electric field is positive when it is greater than d. Okay. So this is the plot of electric field as a function of y. He has given plot E versus y, calling E is positive when it points along plus y direction and negative when it points along minus y direction. Okay. So I mean, which is positive, which is negative, again it all matters, am I right? It's our choice. Why I have taken this is positive, this is negative. He has given that one, look at here. In the question itself, calling E positive when it is points along plus y direction. It points along plus y direction here, am I right? So that's why E is positive. So calling E is negative when it is points along minus y direction. That's what he has given, isn't it? We can know. So direction and sign, both are very different, remember. Placing the sign for magnitude is very much different from putting the direction, isn't it? Are you getting my point? I said it is along minus y cap direction. Then what would you talk about magnitude? Magnitude is just magnitude. You have to talk about real value, I mean real positive value, am I right? You should not talk about sign. But while drawing, he mentioned that. Take electric field positive when it is points along y cap direction. Take electric field negative when it is points along minus y cap direction, so that it will show that one. The whole thing will show that one, remember, okay? Placing the sign with the magnitude is very much different from writing the vector, isn't it? So sign always is our choice. Now next problem, again little geometrical, this problem, okay, this is infinite slab problem, little bit geometrical. Now you have one more question that is asked in old again CSIR exam, outside the chapter again. Yesterday we have done I think electric field due to infinite wire which carries uniform line charge, am I right? So again extension of this one is 2.52, 52 problem. 52 problem, he has given two infinite line charges, plus lambda and minus lambda. You need to find the potential or potential difference, I don't know, okay. He asked something. Just try that one, that's also purely geometrical. You need geometrical thinking. I mean, if you see the problem in one particular way, it is solved actually. Okay. 52, problem number 50, sorry, yeah, so problem number 52 or 2.52, okay. Two infinitely long wire running parallel to the x-axis carry uniform charge density plus lambda and minus lambda. Find the potential at any point x comma y comma z using origin as your reference point. Using origin as your reference point, he said, okay, take origin because that's an infinite charge distribution, am I right? You can't take infinity as the reference point. He said take origin as a reference point and proceed with that one. Again, solve this infinite slab problem again. Let me solve one more problem, that is again 2.18, 18th problem, okay. 2.18 or 18th problem. It's also very nice problem. Two spheres, each of radius r, carrying uniform volume charges plus rho and minus rho respectively, are placed so that they partially overlap. Two spheres of same radius, okay, of same radius capital R, I had one argument. You can draw a perfect circle only you are very confident. Yeah. So now I have two spheres. One contains plus rho charge density, uniform charge density. Okay, charges are uniformly distributed. Other contains minus rho. Okay, now they partially overlap. In the overlap region, obviously, net charge should be 0, isn't it? In the overlap region, so net charge should be 0 because one was positively charged, other was negatively charged. The charge density was same, so that's why it should get neutralized in the, let me just read out. So that they partially overlap, call the vector from the positive center to negative center as D. So this center to this center, call it as D vector. Positive center to negative center as D. Show that electric field in the region of the overlap is constant. Electric field in the region of the overlap is constant. If you take region of the overlap, you have to take electric field due to individual spheres. Am I right? Our superposition principle allows us to do that one. So take electric field. So assume only plus rho charge. So plus rho sphere exists. Find the electric field, and assume only minus rho exists. Find the electric field at that point, and vectorially add them. Are you getting my point? Our superposition principle allows us to do that one. Is that okay? Take any point in the what you call overlap region. Okay. Assume there is no minus rho charge, minus rho sphere. Find the electric field. Find the electric field. Suppose it is at R plus. Can I take like that? Because I have plus and minus here. Let me call this one as R plus or italic R. R plus. Is that okay? Let me call this one as R plus. So at this point, I am trying to find the electric field. Is that okay? Let me call this one as R plus. Is that okay? Now, what is the electric field at this point due to only this positive sphere? Speak out. Now, in terms of rho, you have to take Gaussian surface. You have to take Gaussian surface. So then mod E into 4 phi r square into 1 by epsilon naught into Q enclosed. Q enclosed means rho charge density into volume 4 by 3 pi r cube, isn't it? 4 phi electric field will be rho by 3 epsilon naught r into r cap. If rho is negative, one more negative sign will be there. That's it. For other sphere, you can just quickly write that one. Yeah, speak out. R plus. Now again, you got that idea. Rho by 3 epsilon naught r into r cap. Okay, or rho by 3 epsilon naught r vector. Can I write like this? Is that okay? So that's why E plus at this point, that's equal to rho by 3 epsilon naught into r plus vector. Okay. So now assume there exists only minus rho charge distribution. Assume there is no this one. And at this point, again, this is suppose, let me take, this is at a distance r minus from the negative center. It is at a distance r minus from the negative center. So now, electric field due to that one, rho by 3 epsilon naught minus rho, isn't it? Exactly same, only charge density is negated, r minus vector. Now look at here, since this rho is positive, this electric field is outward, isn't it? Since this rho is negative, this r minus I have taken outward, minus of r minus inward. Obviously, if you have negative charge, electric field should be inward. Is that okay? And now what you have to do, you have to vectorially add them. That's what our superposition principle says, am I right? At any point, you can take electric field due to individual charge or individual charge distribution and you can vectorially add. So, net electric field is equal to E plus E minus, is that okay? Rho by 3 epsilon naught R plus minus R minus. What is that R plus minus R minus? Can I just draw these vectors here? This is D vector, R plus vector, R minus vector. This was our point, this was D vector. These two were our center. What is R plus minus R minus? According to triangular law of vector addition, what is R plus minus R minus? Speak out. D. Rho by 3 epsilon naught into D. Somewhere in TF for exam, they designed question out of it. In between, in the overlap region, the electric field is uniform and it is along this direction. Is that okay? So that's what he was expecting. Read the question. Show that the electric field in the region of overlap is constant and find its value. Yeah, this is one way of writing the electric field due to uniformly charged solid sphere in terms of total charge density. Other way is writing in terms of total charge also, isn't it? Yesterday we have written in terms of total charge. We should be able to manipulate that expression. If your expression in terms of total charge, you should be able to convert it into charge density. If it is in terms of charge density, if you substitute total charge by total volume, it will be in terms of total charge. This is in terms of charge density inside the uniformly charged solid sphere. Electric field inside the uniformly charged solid sphere, rho by 3 epsilon naught into R vector. Is that okay? Because this is positively charged, it is outward, radially outward. Because it is negatively charged, it is inward, obviously. And when you add them vectorially, you will get D vector. Okay? So do it again. Now let me quickly do one more problem. Let me take what do you call a rod of length 2L with uniform line charge lambda. What is the electric field at a point P? So at a point Z above the middle point of it, isn't it? That was the question. Potential, not electric field, potential. Isn't it? What is the potential? Now you can't apply Gauss law. You can apply Gauss law only for infinite line charge. Only that is that has a cylindrical symmetry. Remember, here if you find electric field, it will be inclined direction. Okay, here you may get electric field outward. Am I right? That's what we proved earlier. But it is not cylindrical symmetry everywhere. Remember, okay, because of the finite length. So now what you have to do? You better to again finite charge distribution. You better to go for this one. 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught integral of dq by r. That's it. scalar integration. You don't have to take any component, anything. Is that okay? Quickly, let me choose this one as origin, this one as x-axis, this is plus L, this is minus L. Am I right? So now let me take one small region here which contains charge dq, that's equal to lambda into dx. Can I write like this? Dx, because I have taken x-axis. It is at a distance italic r. It is at a distance x from the origin. Is that okay? Now what is italic r? Root of z square plus x square. So now potential is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. What is dq? Lambda dx. What is italic r? Root of z square plus x square. Look at here. No need to find any component. Am I right? We are finding a scalar quantity here. That depends only on the magnitude of this one. Is it? So now what is the x range? Your x should range from minus L to plus L. Okay, your x should range from minus L to plus L. Look at here, there is one function. You can convert it into 0 to L. You can do that one. Okay. Don't find electric field and line integrate that one. Then also you will get that one. But that is literally unnecessary. Is that okay? It's by one scalar integration you will get this. Can you do that one later? And try to show gradient of that one is your earlier electric field. Is that okay? Try to show that gradient of that one is your earlier electric field. Once you do this trial and errors, you will be able to eliminate options. Are you getting my point? So try to show that gradient of this one is our earlier electric. Obviously, your result will depends on z, am I right? So then if you take gradient, only z cap component will exist. That's why electric field was along z cap, am I right? At that point. Just see that one. Now similarly for, again, I'm just defining the integral, okay? You have to do that one. Any mistakes? I think that's correct. Yeah, so you can take a disk with uniform surface charge sigma. Okay, you have to take, you have to find the potential at a distance z. Again, don't go for electric field. Finite charge distribution is a disk. Okay, so now take take one small region here somewhere, isn't it? I told you to how to use your polar coordinate. Am I right? What is dA here? R dr d theta. In case of plane polar, am I right? Suppose disk is of radius capital R. So then, so this is dq, isn't it? What is this one? This is italic R. What is this one? R. That patch of area, it is at a distance R from the origin. Is that okay? Then what is your italic R? Root of z square plus R square. Z is constant, R is variable. Isn't it? So now you have to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught integral of dq by R. Am I right? What is dq? Sigma dA. Sigma is charge density, isn't it? 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught integral of sigma dA, isn't it? Charge per unit area into area, and it is uniform. So root of z square plus R square. Look at here, 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. Wait a second, it's actually double integral. Why you have dA? Am I right? R dr d theta sigma outside. Am I right? You can do R integral one side. Okay, R dr into integral of d theta other side, because there is no theta functionality. Am I right? So that's why R dr divided by root of z square plus R square. Don't cancel out by seeing that it is odd function. Integral range from 0 to R. Remember, is that okay? It's not minus L to plus L like that. Is that okay? Integral range is 0 to R. Okay, do this integral, and this is 0 to 2 pi. When you run R from 0 to R, 0 to capital R, theta from 0 to 2 pi, it will sweep entire disk. Again, coordinate geometry. Again, learn how to do this integration. Or you better remember this integration and this integration. You better remember those two. Are you getting my point? Integral of x dx by root of a square plus x square 1. Okay. And then integral of dx by root of a square plus x square. You better remember, because these two integral came again and again. Better remember directly, or learn by integration by substitution. X equal to a tan theta, isn't it? X equal to a tan theta. Yeah, I think that is sufficient for finding the potential. Okay. Yeah, we shall take a break. Again, we shall continue 1 more hour. 2.27. Now, I just told you to skip this 2.26 and 2.27 also, I think. 2.26 is little lengthy integral. Defining those vectors is little difficult, okay? There's a conical problem. Again, that's why I skipped that one. Or you see the solution manual. 2.27, wait a second. Find the potential on the axis of the uniformly charged solid cylinder at a distance z from the center. Again, you have to do that integration because you can't find electric field that easily, okay? Because finite, am I right? It's a finite cylinder. Find the potential on, now look at here, this whole set of problem is to use this formula. Have you seen that one? This whole set of problem is to use this formula. Earlier set of problem is used to, use Gauss law to find electric field and line integration of this. Okay, see that, okay? But you have to follow the easiest way. Find the potential on the axis of uniformly charged solid cylinder at distance z from the center. What do you mean? You got that one? What he is talking about? Is that like this? Placed like this? Like this? X cap, Y cap. What is the potential on the axis of the uniform charged solid cylinder at a distance z from the center? Z means, should I take outside or inside? So am I right? Am I right about this one? So now where should I take? Somewhere here. Somewhere here. If this is L by 2. Somewhere here. That's what he said. Yeah. Use your result to calculate electric field at this point. Now look at here. Now look at here. For this problem, it is very easy to find potential first and then electric field. Okay, that's why he mentioned like that. Now let me just give the integral. Okay, I think that integral may be lengthy. Okay, this is L by 2. This total length is L, am I right? Contains uniform volume charge, rho. Then radius is capital R. Isn't it? Radius is capital R. Wait a second. And this is my point of interest. I need to find this one. Now what you have to do here is you have to take any volume element. Am I right? Ultimately, you have to do this integral 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught dq by r. dq we have to write as rho d2 by r. Now you have to do everything in cylindrical coordinate. Okay, what is d2 in cylindrical coordinate? Yes, ds d phi dz. Am I right? Yes, ds d phi dz. So now rho is constant. You can take it outside. 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. So d2, this italic r definition is little lengthy. Am I right? So now you have to take from the origin. Suppose let me take this one as some r, okay? So from the origin, let me just take, this is one volume element, okay? Where I have charge dq. dq is equal to rho d2. It is at a distance italic r. Italic r is always from source to field. Am I right? Italic r. Italic r. You have to take it as a vector. Okay, you have to take it as a vector. Wait a second, this is not needed. Let me just argue like this. Let me draw one perpendicular to this one. Let me draw one perpendicular to this one. Let me take this one as S vector. Can I take that one as S vector? No, you need something else, isn't it? Wait a second. Now it's okay. I mean, S is okay. Now you have to write your italic R in terms of cylindrical coordinate. Now you can write italic R in terms of S square plus this square. Let me write what is this distance? How do you write that distance? You have to write. Can you see the solution manual? Let me try in the evening. He didn't write like that. So what did he has given? So you have solution manual. Just see that one. Okay, he placed the origin, integrated that one. That's also a good idea, isn't it? Yeah, that's also a good idea, isn't it? So imagining this one as a disk and integrating it. So try that one, okay? I'll solve some series of problem in the evening. I skipped that type. I mean, from ring you have to go for disk. From disk you have to go for cylinder. I skipped that type. I just went for that coordinate geometry to do that one. Is that okay? From ring you can define dq and you can go for disk and you can integrate ring answer to get the disk answer. So from disk you can go for cylinder. That's the best idea. That's what he has done, am I right? So, but what I'm thinking is, if we do that one in coordinate geometry, we don't have to again remember that one, isn't it? Suppose if you have started from the ring, if you want to do this problem, is that okay? Ring to disk, disk to cylinder, isn't it? It's not a good idea. I'm thinking about some coordinate geometry. If you are able to write this R vector in terms of cylindrical variable, it's done. One integral, it's done. And in case of that cone problem, he tried to do that one. Have you seen that? In case of cone problem, he tried to do that one. Again, wait a second. This is R cos theta. No, we should not take a spherical polar coordinate. So this is Z, am I right? No, he has taken this one as Z. But in our integral, yeah, I have to take this one as Z prime actually. Why? These are, I mean, this prime coordinate is for charges, am I right? I mean source charge. Let me take this one as Z prime. This distance as Z prime. And what is this one? Z minus Z prime. Yeah, I think I can do. So try this one and try to match the final answer. Italic R, I can write as root of Z minus Z prime the whole square. Z prime is variable. I better write d to prime. That's how we have written earlier, remember. So Z minus Z prime the whole square plus S square. Wait a second, both are variable. Both Z prime isn't it? Both Z prime and S are variable. How do you do that integral? Or you better do like this. I mean, do the disk problem quickly using coordinate geometry, then use that disk answer to do this one. That you can do. Is that okay? That you can always do. Is that okay? By imagining this one as a, this consists of large disk. Now look at here. How to use that disk answer to do this one? Isn't it? Let me explain in the evening, okay? I have to do some series of problem. I skipped that type or that way of doing the problem. in case of disk. Look at here. You have to write dq, integral of dq by r. Am I right? Integral of dq by r, 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. Look at here. Now you have to use this answer. So in place of dq, take that one as a whole charge of this disk. So take answer of whole disk, and whole disk as a charge dq. Because now in the cylinder, if you just chop it out, it is elementary. Am I right? Disk is an elementary one. So take its charge as dq. And I think you have to take this one as a Z like that. I mean, whatever the answer you have. Or just take the answer as dV. Take answer as dV due to one disk. And try to integrate that one. Okay. But somewhere you have to link that sigma to rho. That's what I want to talk about. I better to start from ring. From ring, how to do disk. From disk, how to do the cylinder. Okay, that's better. So try that one. I think try to do that integral root of z minus z prime the whole square. Z is constant, z prime is variable, plus s square. S ds d phi. This integral. Are you getting my idea? You can do z integral by treating s as a constant, and then you can do s integral actually. That would be little lengthy, right? Because you better to put z minus z prime as some other variable, and then you have to do that one. That integral is lengthy. Yeah, anyway, we shall try to find easier way, okay, from disk. Again, try that one, okay. So at least by seeing the solution manual, 2.27. So try that one. So from disk, how to do that one? Because I need this answer, okay. Do up to this one. Do up to this one. Let me extend that one, okay. So we shall do that electric field as well as this one. Yeah. So take a break. I'll continue with the theory. Yeah, any other question? So 2.26. Yeah, 2.26 also I have to try that one, okay? I have to try that one. I mean, again, writing that italic R is the main point over there. So have you tried that one? Writing italic R is the main step. I think we have to write that italic R in terms of some vectors. Then we have to yeah, we better to do that cone problem. Then if we go for this one, I think we may get some idea. Yeah, somewhere some vector algebra is needed, okay. This italic R, if you write this one in terms of some vectors, I think you can sort it out. Is that okay? So let me try that one. So again, if you do that cone problem in a coordinate geometry, I think you can do 2.27 in the coordinate geometry. But okay, you can eliminate variable. Am I right? Here z as well as s become variable. There only one variable will happen. Yeah. So here I was looking for that one, some constraint like that, but it was not there. Both z and s are variable if you go for coordinate geometry. Yeah. So this problem you better to do that one by disk only, isn't it? By extending the disk idea. Cone problem you better to do in the coordinate geometry. Let me do that one. Okay, both of the problem. 2.26 and 2.27. 2.28 I think you can do. I think 2.29 is checking the Poisson's equation. That also can be done. Okay. So take a break. We shall continue. Okay. Yeah. What else? Which one? Okay, okay. Let me solve that one. Okay, let me solve that one. I too felt that one as little difficult. So I haven't got idea in the first extent. Conical surface. Okay, let me explain that one. Okay, let me explain.